On behalf of the Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we welcome each one of you to this webinar on enhancing the employability of professional graduates and examination procreating solution. This session has been organized under the aegis of Industry Institute Interface 3I Expert Committee of the BCIC. We would like to especially thank Dr. K.N. Subramania, Chairman of the Industry Institute Interface Expert Committee at BCIC and the Principal of RV College of Engineering. And also Mr. Sanjay Grover, Member of the 3A Expert Committee and CEO of Informatic Publishing, for curating this session for the benefit of our members. The speakers for today's session are Mr. Subramanian Kannan, Founder, Quick Learn, and Ms. Ramya Bhaskar, Founder, Give Me 5. A brief profile of the speakers for today's session. Mr. Subramanian Kannan holds a master's degree in mathematics and started his career as a scientist at the Indian Space Research Organization. He later joined IBM Systems and Technology Group and was with IBM for about 20 plus years. In a career spanning 25 plus years, Kannan has contributed in the product development, project management, sales and leadership in various capacities in India, Asia Pac, and global market. He is very passionate about integration, various technology, and started Quick Learn along with a couple of other IBMs. The focus of Quick Learn adaptive learning platform is to integrate and personalize and enhance the learning experience. The brief profile of Ms. Ramya Bhaskar, founder of Give Me 5. She has 14 plus years of experience in IT industry in building products in AI, programming, educational, and gaming domain. Her earlier work experience includes building and educational products for high school students to make education accessible and affordable through mobile phone and tablet. She worked as a product owner at Byju's and played an instrumental role in releasing the iOS version of Byju's learning app, along with co-founding the company. Her current job at Give Me 5 includes developing AI and programming platforms and courses to enable the young minds to master 21st century skills like artificial intelligence and program easily. The today's session will be moderated by Dr. K.N. Subramania. We also like to thank all the participants for joining today's session. We request all of you to kindly mute your mic and webcam options. This is to enhance and keep the bandwidth strong as well as avoid any disturbance in the background. Request only the participants to kindly be on the speakers to be on the webcam. Please post your questions in the chat box only. The speakers will respond to the questions during the session. And in case time do not permit, we shall be sharing the queries to the speakers and shall revert back to you accordingly. May I now invite Dr. Subramania to set the context for today's subject and also moderate the session. Thanking you once again to all. Over to you, Dr. Subramania.
Good morning, Prithvi. Good morning, Sanjay, and the speaker.
Good morning.
Yeah, hope you are able to listen to me. So first of all, let me thank all the people involved in making this happen. And we have very good two speakers today with us. So what we'll do is, I will not take much time because I want speaker to explain to the people. So we have two speakers. One is Ramya, who will be talking on the employability, which is the essence of today's younger generation. Whichever college they are studying, I am sure that employment and employability, I think both are very important. I hope the madam will explain about how people have to prepare for the employment opportunities in the newer area. Since she is working in machine learning and AI, I am sure that in spite of the whatever could be the sectors people talk about, I am sure today machine learning and AI would be needed. So you can highlight on what all the important opportunities people have. Then actually, as a precursor to employability, the most important thing, at least in our country as of now, is the examination system. In fact, people say that assessment and evaluation is important than the examination, but still, since we have a mass, the number of students who are studying in our country is huge. So still, for some more time, I'm sure this examination system will be there. Apart from the other assessment tools, experiential learning, and things of that sort. And I'm sure that pandemic has taught us a lot of new things, particularly educational institutions moving towards the digitization and digital learning. So Quick Learn is one of the companies wherein they have been doing the helping the institutions in terms of the digitization and digital learning part of it. And the proctored examination system is such a very important thing. I don't say still proctor examination in our country is 100%, but I'm sure good institutions have started doing this. So let us listen to each other, and I'm sure I can try to create a link between these two, because if somebody is looking at an employment opportunity today, it's all online, so it will all be proctored exams only. So in that way, people have to get used to it, and students in particular have to get used to it, all these latest technologies. Hope these two sessions would be very much helpful to interpersonal activities are there between examination and employability. At the same time, it will be helpful for the participants who will be looking at employment opportunities and how to prepare in terms of the examination through online portals. So that's the way I would like to connect. In fact, we'll be starting initially with Ramya, and then we'll go to Subramanian Kannan. So I hope each one of you can take maybe a half an hour. Each one of you can take half an hour, and I request all the participants, please put your questions in the chat box, and after both the speakers have completed, then we'll take the question answer session. Otherwise there'll be disturbance in the middle. And one more thing is, I request all of you to mute your audio and videos except the speakers, including me, so that the availability of the bandwidth will be good for the speakers. So with this, can I welcome Ramya on behalf of 3I Committee of BCIC to deliver a lecture to the participants. Welcome, madam.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the introduction, and thank you for arranging this amazing session. I would like to share my screen. So I hope everyone is able to see my screen now.
Not yet. Not yet.
No, Ramya.
No.
Okay.
You have to share it. You may have to share it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's opening.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I hope it's fine now.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, yeah. Thanks a lot for the confirmation. So I would like to thank everyone for arranging this amazing webinar, and thank you for the opportunity. So today I'm going to talk about what are the different steps that particularly I'm talking about 5 steps to enhance the employability of non-CS students. So so the barrier between CS and non-CS students now, it is very thin, right? Maybe like if you compare 13, 15 years back when we started, doing engineering and all, then at that point of time, the gap was too wide. But now, like, as long as you have the right skills, so you can actually crack the interviews. But what are the different steps here to enhance the employability is what I'm going to talk about. So basically, as I told you, so CS and non-CS, really does it matter now? That's the only question what I want to ask everyone, because the kind of subjects what CS and non-CS students have, they are like widely different from each other. But as long as you have the passion to get the skill, what it takes to the employability or employment, that doesn't matter. So basically today, see, I can give the steps to reach the goal, but I want to do the other way around. You set the goal and move towards that, right? So basically that is what I'm focusing on. You need to have a goal, what you want to do, and then to do that, what is the optimal path, right? That is what we have to decide and take actions accordingly. So 5 steps. So first one, I just want to highlight on how the campus placements have changed over years, right? 15 years back, it was like, you hire or you do the campus placements, you take them to your company, you train for 6 months or 1 year. It was like an extension of your college itself, and then you are like, put into the job. But now it's no more the situation is available, right? So companies are looking for candidates who can be built from day one. So that is like, they need to have all these skills of logically thinking and problem solving and all the required skills, right? That has to be there. That is what the expectation companies has these days. And companies with skills anywhere has the same opportunity now, since with the pandemic and with all the kind of online recruitment that is happening right now. So that is like, even the student who is from the remotest college has the same opportunity as the student from a tier 1 and tier 2 cities, right? So now the disparity between these has reduced a lot, right? So that is one opportunity what we should understand. And bad news is, obviously there is so much of competition now. For every job, at least 500 applications, 1000 applications would be there, right? And nobody wants to do this face-to-face evaluation, that too with the pandemic and things that's happening around. And basically everyone is going for the proctored exams, so that is what we are going to listen in the next session as well. So now, like, so much of video interviews, this is how the entire campus placements have changed over years, right? The social media and online profile presence, if you need to have, and the LinkedIn, the hiring is happening in all the social networking sites, right? So the campus replacement has totally changed now. So as long as you focus on your what you want to do, right? So getting the first job profile is a big decision. So when the students are in final years, or about to complete their engineering, they might get some job and they might think, okay, there is some salary, let me just start with this. But that can be a big problem for the students in the long run, right? So because companies brand you based on your first job, and just for the sake of getting some job, don't choose them, right? So you have to have a clear goal here. That is one thing. And it takes a lot of willpower to change your job stream. Once you start with something, the routine, the kind of job, the demanding work schedules will make you, like, it takes a lot of willpower to change that and go in another path. So you must be thinking, like, why I'm talking about the job first. So I'm setting from the goal and then I'm coming backwards. Okay. So this is one thing what we have to understand is, like, they don't consider, if you are, like, have 1 years of experience with some irrelevant things, then if you go and apply somewhere else, obviously they'll not consider you, that experience will not be counted, and they won't pay for your world experience in some different domain. So you have to choose a job which is relevant for at least next 5 years. Okay, that is the goal we should have in our mind. We should educate our students in such a way that they should be aiming for a job which is relevant for next 5 years, because there is a lot of competition. And basically, even if you do something, it should add some value, maybe for your higher studies. At least it is not adding value to your job, at least it should add some value to your higher studies, like, doing MBA or MSc or whatever, right? So that is the main thing, but we have to focus. There are a lot of job opportunities available for non-serious students as well, right? So software development, anybody can learn software and become a developer. Apart from that, they usually think if you don't get software job, it is done. It's not like that, right? So in the software company, there are a lot of different domains, lot of different job opportunities available even for non-CS students. These are some of them I have listed over here. So first advice is, I really want to give, like, choose the first job wisely, right? So let us now find out, what is this wisely select in the first job? What does it mean, right? Which job satisfies these conditions? So that is where, I mean, we are coming little bit, coming backwards now, like, to understand how to get there, right? So now we have to understand, okay, where are the jobs, right? Where are these jobs available? And basically, how we can analyze or understand about what is the job requirement right now. So now, as we know, AI has taken over everything, right? So everything what we do, without even knowing it, when I do AI webinars, so I have seen people, they will be like so surprised to see that YouTube or your Google Maps, everything is embedded with AI, right? So without knowing, we are thinking we are using these applications, but AI is playing a major role here. So the current way of the traditional programming is totally saturated. We need a machine which can take the decision on the fly, on the go, like the self-driving cars, or how the applications are evolving with AI. We need that kind of a programming. The traditional way of writing, giving the instruction to the computer, writing if its conditions, you only thinking as if how the machine has to react and putting them into in the form of software code is no more required, because it's totally saturated now. So every product, every company requires artificial intelligence capabilities now. You can take any domain, healthcare, even the companies for gaming. That is how it started. AI was started, but now it has been like used in almost all domains. And the companies, like very the Indian oriented companies, so they are also using and have started investing on the AI platforms. And Wipro says their 350 of their clients, right? So almost 30-35% of their client is using and understanding this AI trend, and they're catching up very, very fast. So even earlier, people were looking only in startups for AI capability, or someone who knows about AI. Now that is no more the case. Even the traditional companies, they have started understanding the need and the routine jobs. Like almost the customer care, everything, there is a bot now, right? Earlier they used to be human beings, now it is being managed by bots. And 15% of the work that is being done by bots itself, right, for the fixed price project. This is what Wipro CEO says. So already it has gone to this extent. These are the numbers from 2019. I'm sure that these numbers would have increased drastically now, right? So this is the current status, right? So this is the job that is in need of the hour. There are like jobs available only in this domain right now, but there are no people who have this knowledge, right? So a lot of jobs are vacant because the freshers who is coming out of the colleges, they do not have the expertise in these fields. That is a major problem right now. There is a huge gap between the demand and supply here. Okay, so that is where we really have to think, this is where the jobs are available. This is what the market says. This is what the market's need is. Okay, so and then basically, like these are we have understood not only with the kind of analysis what we have done in the job, as well as basically if you see any job portal, right? So basically everywhere there is a need. But most of the AI ML engineers, they would have done some MSc or PhD in core AI ML work. They would have done some statistics or mathematical knowledges to they would have done some PhDs on that, and they were kind of able to do this AI ML hardcore work where they have to write the algorithms, where they have to create the models and things like that. So how as a engineers, right? So how we can move to this kind of a job when you have not done PhD, when you don't know anything about the models and what we use in ML work. So how as an engineer who has done the basic 4 years degree can get there, right? So that is one of the questions. As you have seen, the data scientist or basically the AI ML work, if you see any other portal, they always ask for some of the highly advanced research or PhD in those fields. Okay, so this image may be like the familiar to all of us, right? So this is a famous image, basically taken when in US, basically like selling shovels, right, in gold rush. You must be knowing about this proverb. So when they got to know that there is a lot of gold is available, and everybody started going and digging there, and one guy, smarty, he started selling the shovels in the gold rush, and he made more money compared to anyone else who have done the dug up work in the mining to find the gold, right? So now we have to do something like this for our engineers. Okay, so basically we have to kind of have to understand in order to AI ML to work, we need data science or data science engineering or data scientist. That is the requirement that we have. So data science jobs requires engineering, right? So this can be our path towards AI ML, right? So even if you can't do PhD or some research on this kind of a work, right? So another way is to take this route by doing some data science related things, because data science requires engineering as a basic qualification. With additional skills we can acquire on the way, right? So it is not like very hard. Once you have the intention to get your goal, now, like, it is very easy to identify that and start working towards that. Okay, so now we had to make this opportunity, we had to use this opportunity. Maybe the route we are following as an engineer may be different. Okay, we may not have done PhDs, we may not have done extensive studies in AI algorithms or ML, but data science jobs is required, right? So now, once we achieve this goal of becoming a data scientist, then upskilling to ML job is easy with over the experience, right? So that is one thing what our engineers have to understand. Our the engineering students who are, like, in the final years, they have to build the skills to become the data scientist. That is the main thing, right? So with the help of experiences and additional courses, you can always become an ML engineer, and with the kind of focus if you have, right, the determination if you have, of course we can become the AI engineer as well. Because when you know how to create data, how to clean data, and then that is where that is the entire engine is dependent on the kind of data you are filling in. So that is how you start understanding what are the inside things, right? How you can become an ML engineer or AI engineer. That will evolve over a period of time. So now we know the goal, right? We know as an engineer, there is a huge demand for AI, ML related work, right? So our route cannot be the traditional AI ML engineer, because we are not into that domain where we are going to do PhD or anything. So now is the only way is to do data science or learn about data science, and then it is easy for us to upskill ourselves to the different stuff, right? So now, in order to know this much more deeper, knowing the job profile, right? So now, what is data science? So it's a study of data. So it knows, a lot of things are involved here, like recording, storing, analyzing. So basically, you should know how to extract the data, how to extract the useful information out from the data. You may be having like GBs of data with you, and if you're not able to extract the trend or analyze the data, there is no point. So the data scientist job is to extract the data in a useful way. And the goal of data science here is to get the insights and knowledge, right? So, and cleaning the data, see, basically, like, there are a lot of problems we have seen when the data is not clean, how the ML or AI model reacts, right? We have already seen a lot of issues with that as well, right? So basically, the idea is the data, the more accurate data we feed into the system, the more accurate model we are going to generate, and how it is actually directly proportional to the kind of result what we get from this exercise is directly proportional to the kind of data you feed in. So now, like, you have to have a mindset to understand the insights and knowledge from this data. Okay, so every project requires a data scientist, right? That is the starting point. You have huge data. Now, if you want to do anything with AI or ML in your company, you need to have a data scientist engineer, and he knows how to extract this meaningful data or input them, right? So this is like they spend a lot of time in collecting, cleaning, manipulating their different AI project life cycles, where you understand the different life cycle of the project, AI project life cycles, and start preparing your data. You have to use a lot of tools you have to learn. So basically, this is where the path which our engineers needs to follow, our engineering graduates. So once we know what do they do, so now it is like identifying the new business opportunities will be very easy for a company, or improving the product development techniques, right? Which feature will make the conversion more, right, compared to others? What is the tweak you have to do in your game to make people buy more, or make people spend a lot of time on your game or on your product, things like that? And how you can optimize the customer experience, the revenue generation. You can have any goal. So for that, we require someone to think in that angle and get the data, understand the data. So when I was working in a gaming company, the major reason what we were focusing always on the data was to understand what is the peak time when user will come and engage in the engage in the game application, right? And the games, how long he will spend, and what is the trend, where does he go? So basically, how he spends his time. So we got to know that he's spending more time on the chat rather than playing the game, because we had the in-game chat. Then we got to know that so they are coming here for the community, right? So that is how the insight what we have drawn from the data. So people are coming and chatting more, they are inside the game itself, but they're not doing much activity. They are more into the community, building community there, because this is the game which has been there for 5 years. So the community, they have built among their friends and things like that. So now, with the data, we made, we developed actually some of the features that is meant for community, like some sharing of your some game points, or basically it's all like you can come in a group and start doing that. That worked wonders for our game. This happened only because of the proper analysis of the data what we had. Okay, so the community was the main key. So then we developed community features in the game that really helped us to retain the users. The first thing, the revenue, the engagement, everything, we have seen very good results because of the data analysis, right? So first of all, you getting the data itself is difficult, right? So once you have the data inside the company, then you will have to make sure that you drive some insight from it. It's not like typical you go and put the pivot table and then just analysis some chart, a lot of charts you develop. It is not just that, right? So it is not about that. It is finally you have to draw some insights. Okay, so now this is a job of data scientist, which is like ever growing like anything now. So if you see, this is trend what we have in 2018, but I'm sure the trend would have been more. I have seen a lot of data models that are coming up for the pandemic, the COVID-19, right? Everything there is a data model. Everything there is a data scientist demand is there in every possible field right now. So every city has job availability now. If you see all these cities, right? So maybe some of the cities have more. With this is the data before pandemic, right? So now I'm sure that all of us, kind of working from home, and companies are not in a hurry to restart their regular, office timings and everything, right? So now like everybody is kind of this data may not be, it would have the city names would have changed now that everybody's kind of working from home, but there is a job availability everywhere right now. With the pandemic, it is like uniform across the cities now. So every domain requires a data scientist. That is the main thing here. You can go to any field. If there is a data scientist, you can definitely see what is the consumer need is, right? That is the main thing what we can analyze out of this. And the fresh minds, right? The fresh minds are in more demand right now. So people with a lot of experience, usually people don't prefer them, because they might be having some instead they would have acquired earlier, and it is not able to kind of freshly do something, right? So always people, the companies prefer someone with very fresh mind here. And the skills that is required for data science is main thing is Python programming, right? So that is how the Python has got the huge popularity. And JavaScript is the second one, then R, and there are some other programming languages, because of the inbuilt libraries, because of the functions that is available inbuilt in Python, that is really helping us in building AI models. So basically, when we develop the platform at Gamify, we made sure that we develop a platform on Python, because we knew that once we have users coming to our portal, once we know they are using a portal, it will be easy for us to go towards AI only when it is built on Python. So we should encourage our students to learn Python more, learn all the possible skills, because Python is also English like a programming language. It is anyway very easy for anyone to learn. Along with that, you need to learn some of the tools like Tableau, or the Hadoop, or basically the technologies like how to use it on a GitHub, or how to host a server on AWS, or maybe Heroku and things like that. So these are the different other tools. This knowledge is required for our students, right? So these are the different skills. Now the important thing here is about the money part, right? So that is the data scientists, they are normally get paid 2 to 3x more than the normal job. So when we hire, so there will be people for normal software development, like you'll be using some framework and start developing. If there is any engineer who is especially for data analysis or data science related jobs, the salary is almost double what we give to the normal engineers, right? So that is the main thing. That is the main drive for all the students, right? There should be the drive for all the students to learn this, because over a period of time, the kind of hike what you get, right? So it is like tremendous when you're a data scientist, because you are the this is the job for next 5 to 10 years, right? So this is what we have to learn, and this is what we have to achieve, right? This is the overall numbers what you see here. Okay, normal engineers get this much, whereas data scientist, the starting salary is between 8 to 10 lakhs, right? There is a huge gap between the normal software engineer with the data science. But when you can, when the data scientists and the normal software engineers both would have done engineering, only the skill what they acquire, right? That is what really make the differentiation here, right? So this is the normal. Okay, so now fourth point is what is the skill required to become data scientist? We already knew about some of them. I have already discussed. So main thing is, even for the non-CS students, it is not hard to become data scientist. That is the main thing what we have to make them understand. If you are a non-CS student, that's not the end of the road for you, right? You can become a data scientist when you have the right skills with you. You may not have learned in the first 6 semesters or 8 semesters, you may not have learned all these things, some of the technologies. But if you have the mindset to abstract the things here, logically think, or the algorithm thinking, right? So that is what is required here. The core skill is to have an open mind, keen mind to analyze the data, because you can start analyzing by looking at a lot of data around you, right? So the interpretation of this data, and finally, arriving some analysis. You may be wrong, okay, you may be right. So basically the skill to analyze the data, and that is the main thing is required, because most of us have forgotten what we have learned in CS the 4 years of engineering, right? So finally what you have acquired the skills over a period of time is really matters. And now we know that computers and programming are just tools. Okay, Python, you can be expert into Python or JavaScript, but now that's just a tool. But finally you can do faster and efficient work here. That's all it gives to us. The main thing is the algorithmic thinking. That is the key skill here. And this is not at all specific to any engineering branch. Anybody can build this algorithm thinking, right? So that is the main thing. So what are the skills required for our data scientists? Is the first one is the algorithmic thinking and the logic building skills. So they should be able to connect the dots, arrive at a bigger picture, and understand what is the short term and the long term things here, and how it's going to help. Then the programming skills comes into picture, whatever the Python, the data structures, advanced. So all these concepts are comes into picture only when you have that mindset, right? So these are some of the things, some of the tools you can learn when if you want to pursue this path of data science. Okay, so how to acquire these skills? There are a lot of online portals are available. We are one of them. So basically how we are different from others is, basically we help them in learning from any level. Even if they are from very basic level or advanced level, we do have courses, and we make sure that anybody can code. Okay, even if you are a non-CS engineer, the specialty what the confidence what we are giving to the students is, even if you are from non-CS, you should be able to learn this. Anyone can code it. That's the main thing what we are focusing on here. And we help children to learn, and even the non-IT engineers, right, who doesn't know anything about coding. We have students who are from law background, commerce background. They are learning coding, and they are trying to build their own things. So we have trained more than 20,000 students across 10 countries right now. So we have different levels. The same course that has been taught at different level. If you are already know Python, right, up to certain extent, we have the next level. So basically what we do, we understand their level, right, and then modify the learning track according to their need. So it is not like the mass learning what we do here. So basically the courses are also designed in such a way, it depends on the whatever the knowledge the student has. Depending on that, the course structure will be given. So for all the students, we give these self-learning courses free for 1 month. I would urge all of the principals and the lecturers over here, they can give access to our portal to your students to get first 1 month access on all the courses whatever is available. While registering, they just have to select this Python and AI. That is the course what they need. Okay, so this also has some of the data science courses as well. And then basically the idea here is the students will be learning all the courses Python, from basic to data structures to advanced. And we start with very basic logic building games. This is the team what we have. We are all data scientists and AI professionals working here. Okay, so who are working in very big companies like Geo Platforms, where the complete AI model has been developed by Shashi Kiran. So basically, this is a team where we are kindly focusing on making the AI enabled learning experience for our students as well. And see, this is how. So if you're a non-IT engineer, if you want to start from maybe like building the logic from very basic level, we have the algorithm thinking games and activities through which they can understand how the repeating works, how the loop works, how the branching works, right? So we start from very basic level like this. Then we have a inbuilt code editor which runs just on the Google Chrome. You just have to write your code and run it. So basically you will be able to get the results on the browser itself. So that is one thing. And all the data analysis, right? So you do not have to worry about installing the complex data analysis packages and things like that. Everything can be learned on the browser itself. This is some of the bottleneck what we have understood from the students. Basically if you're a beginner, you always have the fear of installing something new and breaking your system, right? So that is where we have developed this platform which works just on the browser. Just you need to register and get access to the courses. We have multiple choice questions and a lot of projects with the solutions have been given, because if you get stuck somewhere, you can always check the solutions and correct yourself. And lot of reports, they can analyze their performance over a period of time, how they are performing. So these kind of options are available. And we also give some tips on how to make the CV stand out in the crowd, right? Because not only learning about programming that is sufficient now, we need to know the other stuff, right? How to use this AWS cloud, what is GitHub, how you can use, how you can check in, how you can merge to the master, right? So basically what are the SQL database technologies that is required as add-on to this, because Python has an inbuilt database SQLite 3. So you need to know all those things. And agile development, how fast or how quickly you can change things and how agile you are. And the product management, we mentor the students basically to have product mindset. So it is not like just doing something and doesn't care about whether students, I mean the people are using it or not. It's not like that. Always you need to have the empathy to understand what user needs and building that, and how to make your CV stand out. So these are some of the things what students really have to learn apart from learning programming. Once they know, see, if you right now, as you must have seen, people have started sharing their GitHub account as their CV, right? There's no more description about yourself, right? It's just a GitHub account. You show your skills, then it will be easy for you to get into a very good company. So this is what I have to talk about. Even if you're CS engineer or non-CS engineers, you don't have to worry about that. Get the right skill. We know what market needs now. AI and ML is the future. That's the future for, we have at least for next 5 to 10 years, but more than that. But at least if you're caring about next 5 to 10 years, so that is what you need to learn. So don't worry about if you have you might have learned C or Python in the first year, then you would have gone to your core subjects. It's like it's not too late now. So basically just start getting the access and start learning the courses which is relevant to the job market. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer, or we can answer at the end of the session as well.
Thank you, Ramya, for giving a very good insight into data science, which is one of the prerequisites today, irrespective of any sectors. I think we need the data science. So let me take the questions after Subramanian Kannan completes, so that there will not be any break for the lecture. Finally, we'll take all the questions. So I pose the questions to both of you separately after the talk is over. So can I now request Subramanian Kannan to have his talk, please?
Thank you, Principal Sir, and good morning to everybody. And I would like to start with thanking BCIC for giving us this opportunity to present this talk on online examination with the proctoring. So I'll just share my screen. Okay, so I hope all of you are able to see my screen, right?
Not yet, not yet. It's not coming. Have you shared it?
Yeah, I shared it.
So it's clear, sir.
Oh, it's coming?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but I'm not getting it, so that's why.
Okay, I'm able to see it in the
Okay,
my
fine. You
system.
can continue. You can continue.
Okay, good, sir. So I'd like to thank Ramya for introducing AI in this session because we are going to talk about online examination with AI-based proctoring. So we are going to see a real application of AI in the context of online examination. While I'm just trying to set the context from with respect to the engineering colleges here, but the requirement of online examination is across the domain, not necessarily with respect to the engineering colleges alone, but I'm just trying to set the context here. One is that given this pandemic situation, as Dr. Subramania sir said, the online examination is essential and it's a critical need in today's context. And I don't think that's going to go away. So we all need to be prepared for conducting as well as taking examination online. The way I'm going to share my discussion today is that I'm going to introduce the requirement and challenges with respect to the online examination. And then I will introduce the concept of remote proctoring for online examination, which actually helps in a closed book kind of an examination. And also, I'm going to talk about the technology enablers in this context. Okay. Let's talk about the requirements and challenges. I'm taking a typical engineering college. Let's say about 2,000 students. You have about 200 plus courses, 200 plus faculties. So it's a lot of people need to be engaged in conducting this online examination. And if I take a small calculation with respect to the internal examination as well as the semester end examination, a student has to take about 5 or 6 courses in a per semester. It's roughly that you need a system which able to deliver about 50 plus thousand tests per semester. So you need a system which is a very common technology platform. I wanted to emphasize a common technology platform because a uniformity is required throughout the institute when adopting a technology so that everybody, every faculty, every student gets the same interface with respect to taking the examination. And these need to be integrated with respect to the course management and the enrollment so that the right test is allocated to the right student and it is made available to them at a point of time when they need to take a test. So this puts us a minimum requirement. You need a standard scalable assessment system is needed, something like what we offer from QuickLearn. Now let's spend some time on what are the type of examination. You have a short duration examination, which is kind of an objective type of test, where it could be a multiple choice question or a minimum number of questions where the student need to respond to this question paper in about 15 minutes or a 20 minutes kind of a time enforced short duration examination. And these examination preferably good to be an auto graded because so many examinations need to be corrected. So to simplify the faculty's effort, an auto grading of a short duration test could be an ideal choice. The long duration test, which is a descriptive type of examination, which may require a manual grading where students write the examination either on the screen or writes it in a answer booklet and then uploads an answer booklet. The duration of these tests could be about 2 hours to 3 hours or 4 hours in some scenarios. Also, there are requirements, which is a combination of an objective test followed by a descriptive test in a given duration of about 3 hours. So student takes first 30 minutes an objective test and immediately followed by a descriptive test. And these tests are typically required to be conducted in a time enforced environment So that means a short duration test is timed for 15 minutes or a 20 minutes or a 30 minutes, and the long duration test is timed for 2 hours or 3 hours, right? So these are all the type of examination that one conducts with respect to the institutes and the colleges. Now, what is the requirement in conducting the online examination with respect to the question papers and the question banks, or different types of questions? In an online examination context, question bank it plays a very important role, and also it helps as a repository of the knowledge base or the IP of the collection of the faculty for that particular institute. The question bank can have collection of question types, which could be a multiple choice questions, numerical calculated answer type of questions, fill in the blanks type of a question, match the following, or some additional options are also possible. Now, when a question bank of this nature is available as a collection, sorry, is it, are you able to see the screen?
No,
Okay.
Kannan, we are not able to see. We are able to see, but it is something else.
Okay, somebody else is sharing the screen.
Mr. Shaktivel.
Yeah, mixed. Yeah, Kannan, now you can.
Yes, I think now we are back. Yes, Sanjay?
Yes,
Go
yes.
ahead, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, good. So once a question bank is created, you can have a different type of question papers that can be created out of the question bank. A descriptive type of question also can be part of the question bank, and where the short answers can be written by the student on the screen, or a long answer, which could be a handwritten answer booklet, which can be scanned and uploaded as a PDF, right? Now, given this context with respect to the online examination, I like to spend a couple of minutes on what are the challenges and concerns, right? If you don't have a question bank created, you will not be able to create a unique question paper for every student. So if you just create a one question paper and try to ask the students to respond, who are all sitting remotely and we are not monitoring them, then there is an opportunity for copying or sharing the question papers, and you are not able to enforce the timing and password control. So this is one of the challenge the faculty encounters, that how do I create a one unique question paper or a unique set of question papers for my students. The second is that what will happen when I share these question papers online examination, the students tend to have a group discussion among themselves and try to share the answer sheet, and then try to respond. And sometimes when you look at the answer sheets and the responses by the students, you see that most of the responses are same or similar, because obvious reason it has been either discussed among themselves or it has been shared between the students. The another challenge one sees is that impersonation, that is someone else taking the examination on behalf of the student. So that is another challenge. How do we manage it? And the last but not the least, the copying of the answers from the internet or from the notes. So these are all some of the challenges and concerns with respect to conducting online examination, right? Now, how do we solve this problem? Now, there are various approaches that have been taken in conducting this online examination, different forms. I'm just sharing some few options here. There are certain ways doing it, like a virtual classroom, like the conference session we have, where all students are joining in a virtual classroom, and then they take the test, and the faculty monitors it remotely. The challenge here is, first of all, is the bandwidth, that you cannot have all the students coming onto in a video classroom and imposing a lot of limitations with respect to the internet bandwidth. So it's very difficult to monitor all the students at the same time. Second is that even if you assume that you are able to achieve that monitoring, you don't have an opportunity to see what actually happens on the student's screen in his desktop or a laptop, because you are seeing the student's face, but actually he may be going to a different website and then trying to find the answers and then answering the question. So on-screen activity capturing is a limitation in a virtual classroom mode. There are other types of options that's being tried out. This is a form-based examination. You take a form and then share a link of that form. But the limitation is that you can only create a form with certain number of fixed set of questions, and the questions and remain same. So you don't have an opportunity to create a unique question paper for such examination. Another option that's being tried out is that uploading a files to a cloud drive or sending it in an email. In this situation, one is not able to enforce the time by which the test has to be completed or a test has to be started, or it is enforced by a password access, so that only the correct student who has to take a test, he is able to take it. And also this results in a non-uniform approach across the institute, and it's very difficult to track in terms of how the overall online examination is conducted and delivered. Okay, so now what's the solution? The solution is that you need a standard assessment system supported with the AI-based remote proctoring. Now, what does this system capability should have? The capability of this system should have, it should be able to conduct both objective as well as descriptive tests. It could be a unique question paper kind of a test, or it's an upload kind of a file kind of a test. It should be able to support that. So a standard assessment platform is a need. And when you add the standard assessment platform along with the remote proctoring solution, what you are introducing is an AI-based facial recognition solution, where a student is recognized automatically by the system and matched with the photo ID that he is the right student who takes the test. So the impersonation or somebody else answering the question does not arise with respect to this solution. And also, an AI-based remote proctoring solution can capture the activities of the student during the examination period, and this video can be correlated automatically using AI techniques along with the screen activities, and it can identify the unique violations that happen during that examination, that faculty can see it and take a decision on what is the remedial action for that particular student. So I would like to mention here, while all these things are all kind of a control mechanism that brings in, so that inhibits student to think about cheating. So its intention here is not to capture the cheating. Intention here is to be a deterrent to ensure that the examination is conducted as good as it is conducted in a closed setup. So that's the intention here. So let me just introduce a AI-based remote proctoring solution. So what does an AI-based remote proctoring solution comprises of? It is a webcam-based recording feature along with an auto screen capture function. So a student laptop or a desktop will have this small application called AI-based remote proctoring AI application, which will continuously capture the student activity during the course of the examination. both as well as the video capturing as well as the screen capturing at a different interval. It also will have the features of enable face and ID validation using the AI techniques. And the remote monitoring with the offline capability. This is very important. While at the online examination starting, you may have the internet, so you started the exam. But if the exam is conducted over a period of 2 hours or 3 hours, definitely there is a possibility that the internet might drop for a few seconds or a couple of minutes, given the nature of geographical distributions of the students we have. In a metro scenario, you will have a continuous connectivity, but in a remote location, you may drop network connectivity for a couple of minutes. That is very natural. The AI application, proctoring application, should have the capability to have an offline capturing of the events. Even though the internet is not there, the video capturing and the screen capturing activity is continued to perform while the student is taking the examination. And when the internet comes back, the data is uploaded back for all the videos captured as well as the screen capture. This is a very, very important feature with respect to using the AI-based remote proctoring for online examination. Then at the end of the examination, the AI-based proctoring solution should be able to identify unique violations. And we will talk about, we spoke about few violations, and we will talk about how this AI-based proctoring solution helps in identifying these unique violations. Okay, now let us talk about scheduling the proctoring examination and what it involves from a faculty perspective as well as from a student perspective. While introducing the proctoring examination, it should not make very difficult either for a faculty as well as for the students, because it should not become too complex, right? So the proctoring solution should have a very simple approach in terms of setting up the parameters for proctoring. So the setting up of parameters involves what are all the control parameters that the proctoring examination will have for that particular course, right? It can be universal across the institute, or it can vary from course to course or a test to test. A faculty can choose what is the right thing for particular exam, because all examination may not be of same type. So you may need a flexibility in setting up a different parameters. Now, once these parameters are set up by the faculty and the institute, one activity which is very important to be completed from a student side is that student onboarding before actual exam. So the student onboarding is a process where student logs into the system. The system takes care of a facial recognition. That means it takes a picture of the student, and also it asks the students to show the ID. It could be a college ID, or it could be a government ID like a driver's license or an Aadhaar card kind of an ID, which the system registers. And once the data is registered, the faculty can check and validate whether the student is the same student and the ID matches, and they can pass the student from an onboarding perspective. So onboarding pass or fail is one step before actually the student will be allowed to get into the actual examination. So a pass of onboarding means that faculty has reviewed, or the system has reviewed the student identity, and it also gives an opportunity for the student to take a mock test, that is preparing himself for actual examination. The mock test could be a same environment as the real exam, but with a simple questions kind of a thing. So once a student takes a mock test, he is ready for taking the actual examination. Okay. Now, what are the steps involved? From assessment system, a simple one button click is what is needed from a faculty perspective. Enable proctoring for this test. So that is the only one button faculty need to do outside for the purpose of enabling proctoring. So it's a very simple, one simple activity only need to be done. There is no additional complex activity that need to be created. And with respect to the proctoring settings, there are 4 kinds of settings. One is verification setting, which is respect to identity, the test setting, the student setting, and a whitelist or URL or apps. I'll just talk about the identification settings first, where you can choose a face scan is a must requirement, a photo ID is a must requirement. There is an option to set up a room scan. That is, you can have a room scan of the student in from where he is taking the exam, so that he is the only person who takes the exam, no one else is in the room, or there are no other learning material that is there to help him out. So this is an option which the faculty or institute can enable. And also knuckle scan, that is an additional authentication in addition to the face scan and the photo ID scan. A knuckle scan is a validation about the student's identity. I will talk about the test settings and student setting later. I'll talk about the whitelisting of URL. What are the control parameters that you can set while allowing the proctoring of examination? So you can set whether the student should be able to open certain apps like a PDF file or a Word document. So we can restrict what can be permitted, what cannot be permitted while taking the test. So it could be a website, it could be an application. So this kind of a setting is possible with respect to whitelisting of applications or a URL. Now I'll little go depth inside the test settings. Depends on the type of test. The various options can be enabled. Allow physical books. In a closed book examination, this is unchecked. Allow online or digital resources. This is again unchecked for a closed book examination. Allow scratch pad tools, whether he can use a rough work area, this can be allowed. Allow handwritten notes. Allow students to take a scans or a picture using phone. Allow student take a scans or upload document. This may need to be enabled if uploading of handwritten answer sheet or answer booklet need to be uploaded. This need to be enabled. So there are various options that is available for the faculty to allow or enable or disable the control parameters. Some other control parameters, which is allow a short break. Do we allow in a short duration test? No, but if it's a very long duration test, maybe a short breaks can be allowed. The system will capture how many breaks has been taken, right? Allow food and drinks, some refreshment, like hot water when he takes the examination. And there are other parameters like cut and paste, print screen, desktop monitoring. Desktop monitoring need to be enabled because it's continuous screen capture of the student activity on the screen is essential. So these are all some of those control parameters, very easy. It's like a enable or a disable button from a faculty perspective, need to be set up before the actual examination starts. Now I will switch to the student side, the onboarding process. During an onboarding process, what a student does is that the facial scan or a facial recognition identification. So a scan is taken of the student and it is registered. This is the picture of the student. He also shows to the camera what is his ID card. It could be a student ID or it could be a government ID. And this ID is registered. So this ID along with the picture is used for authentication of the student while passing the student from an onboarding perspective. So this prevents an impersonation, right, or an alternative person other than the actual student who takes the test. Okay. Now, while taking the test, how we want the student to sit and write the test. In this example, I'm just showing you a written examination with a answer booklet type of examination, a descriptive test. Here a student is sitting in the left-hand side picture. The answer booklet is not fully visible and his phone is kept upside down, right? In the second picture, what you see, which is a clear indication that the answer booklet, the writing area is clearly visible. No other learning material is around him and his phone is kept upside down. So this is another way of instructing to the student how one can position themselves while taking the test. Now, I'm going to talk about how the AI-based proctoring captures the student activity while the test is on or after the test is completed. So let us take here, I'm going to show an example of a video which is taken during the examination, and the faculty will be able to view this once the examination is over. The system captures in 4 parameters video monitoring type of violations, under video monitoring, what are all the violation, online violation, and is there are any verification scan violation or onboarding. So 4 parameters in which the faculty will be able to review any violations that has happened. In this picture, if you see, it says that one facial suspicion looking. That means maybe a student did not show his correct face or scan correctly. So it has identified that as a violation. One phone call has been received, right? And 1 time he has left the session and 4 times he has used an online aid. And what is indicated in red and yellow is a hard violation and a soft violation. A hard violation is something like, okay, it is identified as a critical violation. A soft violation is something that, okay, maybe you would have called somebody that he needs some help in taking the proctor test. So this could be a soft violation. So these parameters can be classified as a hard violation as well as a soft violation. And faculty need not go through the entire video to identify the student violation. The AI tool automatically captures and identifies the list of violations. Faculty can go and review those violations only. Occasionally, faculty also can randomly pick up some videos and go through the entire video in terms of how the entire examination has gone through. And next, the system automatically captures the screen. And in the screen capture, while he is taking the examination, he has gone to the Google and tried to do some search. So since the screen capturing happens at a regular interval, the system automatically captures there is a 4 online aid the student has taken, and they are all marked as a hard violation. Then faculty can go to that section of the video and clearly identify that the student has violated using an online tool for taking the help for examination. So such online violations are automatically identified by this using AI techniques. And also the verification scan. On the right hand side, you see a picture where the onboarding face scan was taken, and the left hand side is the face scan taken during the examination. So if there is any discrepancy between this, it will identify as a violation. So this is like person A does the onboarding, but a person B come and writes the examination. This will be identified as a scan verification violation. Okay, and this could be a significant violation, and this the system will treat that as a hard violation, and it will classify that as a fail from a validation perspective. A fail is a significant report from a student grading perspective, which the faculty can look at it and say that, okay, here there is a hard violation, so we will not consider him for grading. Okay, and this is the screen. I'm just showing you what is the onboarding activity that happens. So onboarding activity, you present your face, a face scan is done and an ID scan is done. Okay. Now, the faculty also can see the consolidated view of the students across the course. So since there will be more than one student who will be taking the test, so each student you can get to see what is the status. A student is failed, that means a significant hard violation, a suspicious kind of activity which can be reviewed and it can be processed, and faculty can take a call whether that person can be allowed to be graded or not to be graded. And pass is a feature where there is no violation, right? And in our observations in the conducting of the classes, we see that the hard violations are very, very minimal. As I said, the proctoring is a feature of more of a deterrent rather than trying to identify faults with the student. So the deterrent acts as a important parameter so that the student does not do all the violations which we discussed in the earlier part of this discussions. Okay, so what this helps is that with this solution comes from Quick Learn along with informatics and the Proctor track, is one of the significant solution we use across several universities in the globe. We also have tried used in one of the top university in India, and we have successfully deployed it in evaluating this proctored examination. So what this proof points tells us is that the technology enablers that is required for conducting online examination, which is today it's available, a scalable assessment system can help to create assessments on demand. That is available today. A randomized question paper for subjective as well as objective test is possible because the online systems helps you to create a question bank. And it not necessarily you need to create a randomized question paper. You also can create a selective set question paper sets if that is the type of examination an institute wanted to conduct. A laptop and desktop with a webcam and a microphone is available today with every student, and that enables us to do a remote proctoring based examination. And AI tools simplifies in detecting the suspicious activities because it automatically evaluates the whole examination duration and helps the faculty to easily identify if at all there is any violations by the student. So the technology is available today in making it simple to conduct online examination with proctoring. So to conclude, what a cloud-based scalable assessment system, you don't need an infrastructure at your institute to conduct an assessment online. It's a scalable cloud-based systems are available. And Quick Learn helps in conducting these examinations without any compromise. And today, technology enablers are available to support, and faculty can schedule the examination as required or, as I said, on demand. And students can take exams from their home securely and safely because the pandemic prohibits students from traveling, right? So I just wanted to end here by thanking you for patient listening, and I'd like to thank everyone, and I just wanted to give you the confidence that today it is possible to conduct the online examination with the proctoring and without any compromise for conducting this examination. I just wanted to thank you everyone again, and I just wanted to stop and we can take the questions. Hello.
Thank you. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So thank you, Subramanian, for elaborative presentation on the online proctoring system on the online examination. So it is very exhaustive. So there are some questions actually which has been put in the chat box. There are two questions. So the first question, let me ask Subramanian to answer that whether, let us see if there is a presentation which is given by a student, can it be evaluated through your software? This is precisely for the examination. But one question is that if a student has done a presentation at the end of every semester, so can the evaluation be through the presentation? Can it be done or not? Is this question?
Yes, sir, absolutely. This is kind of a descriptive type of response. That is what a presentation will be, and this can be evaluated using the system. So the answer is yes. So the questions is presented to a student like a project question, and the student prepares a presentation of his work, and he uploads that presentation, and the faculty can review the presentation and grade that particular presentation. Yes, it is possible, sir.
Okay. So I think there is one question which is jointly for both the speakers. They say that the examination system is not preparing the students for the employment. Okay. So it is said that many colleges are not providing enough activities for students to acquire the skills, particularly the employability skills. So that's the first part of the question, which is for Ramya. So is it true, or how do you feel the in academics itself this could be added? And the next question is a logical question to Subramanian, is that they're asking when the examination is not providing the skills needed for employability, why we should spend so much money on the softwares for the examination?
Okay.
So first maybe Ramya can take this question.
Yeah.
You have to unmute, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, to answer to your question, see, basically we need to focus on the skills. Okay. So many times, what the students do is for the see the examination they have to pass it. It is not the only thing that is required now. Earlier it was like that. If you pass with the good distinction marks, that would define your career, right? Your percentile or your percentages. That is what matters earlier. Now we have seen like lot of students who may or may not have cleared engineering, but they are very good technical skills that what is required in the industry. They do have that. And you must have heard about Facebook and the companies like Apple. They are like removing that 4 years degree, that requirement itself they are removing now. So right, so to answer to your question, so I feel the focus should be always on building the skills that are relevant to the market for the next 5 years. So rather than focusing on whatever that is required or that has been done in the past or that is at present. So basically our students should focus on the future technologies.
Okay, so Subramanian, can you take it forward?
Sure, sir. It's a very good question, I should say. One thing is that an examination is a way of evaluation of the students. Now, either it is a institute level examination or a skill set level examination, a student has to be evaluated with on a particular model. Either it could be a online examination or like a presentation. Somebody asked a question, you submit a presentation of your work. So it is a kind of somewhere one need to be evaluated. So the examinations has to be there irrespective of what form and shape it takes. But what it prepares the student for, suppose if a student has to take examinations for his courseware using a home setup kind of environment, and then he takes the examination. When he goes for an what is the industry skill based examination, like Ramya was saying that he takes a AA course and he has to take an examination, that will be evaluated by an industry body. So they will conduct a proctoring examination because they wanted to see. So this whole examination is a process by which the student is prepared for the future, that irrespective of wherever any evaluation methodology that involves some examination, maybe one kind of other. So I would consider this as a learning process and an evaluation process, rather than one should not look at as okay, why should I do an investment on examination?
Okay. So I think let me add to both of you. The fundamental question in our education system is for long time which you are doing, is that we are evaluating a student based on 3-hour examination. Okay, I think that is a fundamental thing which people are all questioning today. See, what happens is a student is studying for a whole semester of 14 to 16 weeks, and you give 50% weightage or 60% weightage for a student who does all the kinds of activities during the semester, and another 50% or 40% you are giving for the student who is writing only for 3 hours examination. I think this is a debate which is happening so across the country. So, and this has been there for more than I don't know, maybe after 1950s, 60s, or Mechale's education system, whatever you call it as. So we have been following this. So people have started questioning that you are trying to judge a student just with 3 hours examination, which is 50% of the weightage. I think that's a thing fundamentally we should try to understand. So now, if you take the developed countries, what they do is they take 70-30. That means 70% for the overall semester evaluation, which should be in terms of the quizzes, seminars, experiential learning, tests, and other things. You monitor a student. Then finally, 30 marks is only for the final examination. Or else in some universities, it's 80-20. So even through with the new education policy, here people are talking about assessment and evaluation rather than the examination. So whether you do the examination for 30 marks, 50 marks, online or offline, still for some more time examination will be there. We cannot escape from that.
Correct.
But slowly what happens is if we can try to tell the students with an online mode, it's also helpful for other examinations. I think this is the very, very important we should try to understand. It's not just passing this examination, because today you take any competitive exams, including the GATE, GRE, TOEFL, everything is online in nature. So this is also taking an online mode of examination will be helping a student even for his employment also. I have seen many students who go for the employment written test, which is online because of the pandemic. They're not in a position to, they're not comfortable because they're not been trained in these areas. So let us not take the online portals as a burden, according to me. It should anyway help with the offline, whatever we do, and a hybrid system will definitely work in many places, so that if they can learn this way of doing it, it will also be helpful for them in the future, not just for studies. It is also helpful for the employment opportunities, because even today GATE exam, IIMS, CAT, everything is online only. So in that way, it will be a practice session if people try to take care of this examination. I think there's an addition point which I wanted to tell.
I'm seeing one more question here, sir. When a student writes or types material by hearing voice, how does the check happens? Okay. Let me answer this question, sir, with your permission.
Yes.
The proctoring system, the application, not only monitors the video camera, it also captures the microphone activities. So if someone is sitting behind and dictating the answer, or someone is reading out the answer, the microphone captures those additional background voice. If you remember, go back to the chart, you see that there is a background noise. There is a one violation that was captured. So that is checked by the system automatically. So a webcam, screen capture, and a microphone sounds are all captured during the examination. Yes, sir.
Sir, are there any other questions? So there are no more questions which is found here. So first of all, Rupa madam, can I conclude?
Yes, sir.
Prithvi is there? No.
No, sir.
Okay, I will conclude. So first of all, let me thank actually Ramya for giving a good insight into the data science field, which is irrespective of the sector or the branch of engineering, arts, or a science. Today, AI and machine learning would be very much essential, which is fundamental for people to work in the data science area. I am sure that everybody in the society has realized that nowadays. And if you see anywhere, today you have engineering program itself on AI and machine learning. But only thing is, we find the drawback here is that People always feel if I say machine learning and AI, they say it is computer science branch. I think that mindset has to go from the people, because it is applicable for all the areas, because the background of any data science is probability, statistics, operations research, and analytical tools. All such things are very essential. Without that, I think just Python will not work anything. So that is where I think people try to understand whether it is the IT or non-IT. As she told, there is a very thin line today based on the sectors, whatever applications you need. And this is a new area. I'm sure after some time, this will not be a separate area. It will be ingrained into every job actually. If you're taken as an engineer, data science should be your skill. You may not be called as a data scientist. No, they may call you. But in future, whoever goes for a job, data science becomes a basic necessity. I think that's the way things are going to move for a long time. So thank you very much, madam, for giving a good insight into the skills needed and what are the things which are taught in data science. Hope we will have a good relation with you and further try to go it in a better way. Like we are also planning to have through our 3I committee to have a 1-week course on AI and machine learning. So let us look into it and I'll get back to you on that. If people are interested, either the faculty or the students, I think we can take up that 1-week course on AI and machine learning, which will be very much helpful for the employability skills. Thank you very much, madam, once again.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Sanjay, for this opportunity. Okay, so I look forward to interact with you more. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So then, Subramanian Kannan, you have given very exhaustively the information. Hello.
Yes, sir.
You have given the exhaustive information on the proctored examination system, and I'm sure that so we are already used for this examination in our college also, and we find that there are some disciplinary issues among the students, which is making people say have to become more disciplined while they take the online examination, which by and large some percentage of the students are not doing it. So keeping that in mind, hope this will be a successful in the future, because during the pandemic these things have helped us a lot. So thank you once again for giving us a very good and elaborative talk on this, and hope the participants should be benefited through this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for the organizers for giving us this opportunity.
Yeah. Sanjay, would you like to say something?
Yes, sir. I would like to thank you and BCIC for giving me an opportunity to bring these two gentlemen and the lady on this platform for the benefit of the the academic community. Today, what we want to highlight is that we need to bring in the academic community, make them aware of what are the initiatives that BCIC is taking and how we can help the academic community from the industry to build or enhance their employability skills of the students that would pass out soon. So I'd like to thank both these gentlemen and the lady for this presentation, and I would also like to thank you for moderating this lecture effectively. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Sanjay. I think hope we will have more connect with these people so that we can do for a long-term kind of a data science or things of that sort.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So thank once again all of you, mainly the participants who have participated. Hope it has been helpful to all of you, and you got some insight into the things, and hope you will have such presentations in future also. Thank you very much, all of you. Rupa and Prithvi also I thank from BCIC for organizing this. Thank you all. Thank you once again. Please take care of yourself and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.